Today, on this New Year's Eve special edition of DADITUDE, BBQ, and more, we're going to end 2024 with a bang. We're going to do some meat candy, pork belly burn-ins. You aren't going to want to miss this.
DADITUDE, barbecue, and more. DADITUDE, barbecue, and more.
Welcome back to DADITUDE, BBQ, and more, and Happy New Year's Eve 2024. I am so excited to do another video for you. It has been way too long since we did one on this channel, and today we're going to take it up a notch, and we're going to do some meat candy, pork belly burn-ins, and if you like bacon, then you love pork belly because that's where the bacon comes from. But before we get started, you know what to do. You slap that bell, you hit the subscribe button, and you share this video so we can get the word out on how to be a better cook in the kitchen. So you know what the motto is on this channel as well. We're going to cut the flab and get straight to the meat. Nobody wants to hear me talk. People want to see how we make pork belly burn in. So we're going to get started today. I've got roughly a 6-pound pork belly. I bought this from Sam's Club. You can get these at Sam's Club. You can get these at Costco and I'm sure other places. Pork belly gives you a lot of bang for your buck. So you're going to see once I cut these into like 1-inch cubes, 1.5-inch cubes, you're going to see that this could last you a few days if you're eating it solo, or if you're feeding a family, you probably will have leftovers. This entire 6-pound pork belly cost me roughly $24. So it's cheap to buy, it's easy to make, and I think you'll be impressed by how easy it is to make and how much you'll have left over, especially if you're doing it solo. So let's go ahead and get started. Obviously, we have a nice sharp knife. We have the pork belly. Now, the way I like to do this is I'm going to cut these into strips, and then we're going to cube them up, and then we'll season them here in just a second. So you can cut it this way, or you can go lengthwise. I probably today will go lengthwise. And what we're going to do is we're just going to cut it over to about this point, about a 1-inch cube. We're going to cut this down the middle, or down the side, I should say. We're going to make sure we get it all the way cut. And what I like to do is just put it off to the side, get it out of the way, and I'm going to do the next one. Now, again, another thing that I want to mention is that you don't want to cut it too thin because these are going to sit right on the grill grate or the smoker grate, and you don't want them to fall through, and you don't want them to be too thin because they'll cook too quickly and they'll just end up really singed and burned and it won't taste good. So we want to get a nice thick cut on these, a hearty cut as I like to call it. So we're going to just cut these into strips, nice hearty cut of strip. And we'll do this one as well. And while I'm doing this, I do want to mention, I'm going to be smoking these today on the Pitball 1600 Pro Series pellet smoker. And I'm going to set my temperature at 250 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm going to leave it at that for the entire cook. And the way these usually run, and I'll put the directions down below in the comment section. The way this usually runs is I usually let these smoke for about 3 hours. And then what I'll do is go out and take them off, put them in a pan, I'll sauce them up, I'll put them back on the smoker, I'll probably up the temperature to about 300, and then I'll smoke these off again for about another 45 minutes to an hour to get that sauce nice and caramelized. And when you bring them in, I'm telling you, it's going to taste just like a meat candy. It's unbelievable. And you'll see the final results later today. So total cooking time, roughly about 4 hours. You could make it 4.5, but I don't really see any reason why. So we're going to cut this last strip off, and then we will see how to go ahead and obviously cut these into cubes. Very simple. So we have 6 pieces here of cutting long ways into the pork belly, and now we're just going to make these into cubes. So honestly, it's very simple to do. And you can see this is a nice hearty cut, a nice hearty cube. And you could make them a little smaller than this, but this will smoke up nicely. We'll just go down here like so on each one of these. And I will not bore you with cutting these up. I will do one more so we can just get a little demonstration here. Turn it more towards the camera. Put these off to the side. And again, we're just going to cut it over to about a 1-inch cube. And don't worry if you cut a couple of them too thin. I mean, it's not the end of the world if you cut them a little thinner. I just prefer mine a little bit more thick, and it makes for a better smoking experience on the pellet grill when they're a little thicker. You notice now I could cut, if you prefer to do this. I don't, but if you prefer and you want to cut some of the flab off, I mean, you could do that, and it still is going to smoke up nicely. You can just discard this or use this for some cooking later on. So what we're going to see eventually is all these cubes, and then I will go ahead and get ready to season those up. Today I'll be using the DADITUDE seasoning that I make here at the house. Looking to maybe market that in 2025 if there's any interest out there. It does a really good job on any type of meat. It's an all-purpose. I use it on vegetables. I use it on meats and everything else. Just a really good seasoning that I've come up with on that. So anyway, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to cut the rest of these, and then I'll come back in just a second and show you how we're going to go ahead and season these up. See you soon. Welcome back. And as you can see, when I say you get a lot of bang for your buck with the pork belly burnt ends, I am not lying. Look at all this meat. And when it smokes up, obviously the fat's going to render down. It's just going to melt in your mouth. And these are going to get a little smaller, obviously, as well. But you will not believe at how tasty the pork belly burnt ends are. And if you've never had them before, like I said, if you like bacon, you're going to love these. It just has a different taste than bacon, but my goodness, it is truly meat candy. So the next thing is, how do we season these up? First thing we want to do is have a good olive oil. When I say a good olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, and the only one I use is the one that is originated from Italy. Now you can get them originated in Spain and Portugal and other areas of the world, but I like true Italian olive oil. And so I always buy one that it only says made in Italy. So I bought this one over at Costco, and this one is made in Italy. You can also, I've seen some even at Walmart, some higher end brands, and at Kroger. But I like to buy these at either like Sam's Club if they have it, which they did not, or Costco, which usually has the olive oil from Italy. And then I have my DADITUDE seasoning. So what I like to do, and you can season these any way you want with any seasoning, you could lay these out on some aluminum foil and season them. I use a bowl just because it's easier for me. I've put on some gloves. If you don't have any good barbecue gloves, go ahead and get those. It saves time from having to wash up. So what I do is I usually pre-coat the bowl with some good olive oil. Kind of swirl it around a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is just going to put some in the bowl. Kind of spread them around like this. Get them into that olive oil. Maybe put a few more in. And as you can see, it's all the way around there. And then I'm just going to take the seasoning, and I'm just going to pour the seasoning. Now, we're going to be liberal on the seasoning and on the olive oil. You're not going to cut corners here because that's what's going to give it the taste. We're just going to do it a little toss in here. We're going to do that again. And then we're going to add the next part of the meat. Now, when we get the next part of the meat in, we're going to cover the top of the seasoned meat. And I'll show you in just a second what I mean. I'm just going to go ahead and put them all in here for now. You could take it and do it in layers. So I have covered the seasoned meat with this, and I'm just going to do another pour of the olive oil on top of this meat. And again, we're going to be liberal about it. We're not going to play around. I mean, you don't want to skimp around when you're making this stuff. If you're going to take the time to do a smoke or do a cook of any kind, quality is the key. And being liberal with your spices and your ingredients only makes the dish taste better. So I'm going to season these up as well. We're going to do a little toss with our hands. And what I like to do also is after I've seasoned these, and I'm going to let these set for about 5 minutes so the seasoning binds with that olive oil and soaks in. But what I always do is once I put these on the grate, I will season the tops of these as well. Makes it so much nicer, so much better. So we are finished basically seasoning. I might give them a little bit more coat on top. And then what I'm going to do is I'll take off my gloves here, and I will show you kind of the finished product, which is, obviously seasoned up and everything. So that's it. As far as the seasoning, so easy. So, I've cut those up. It took about 3 minutes to cut those into 1 inch, 1.5 inch cubes. Took me another minute and a half, 2 minutes to get them all seasoned up with the olive oil. The next step is I'm going to go out and put them on the smoker. We'll go ahead and record that here in just a second so you can see how I line them up on the grill grates and everything. I'm just going to shut the smoker and let it go for 3 hours. My job is done. Your job would be done at this point. 3 hours is going to come up. We're going to take them off, put them in the pan, going to sauce them up, put them back in at about 300, and they're going to come out like meat candy. It's going to be amazing. So remember, 250 degrees is the smoke temperature on this, and I will be back shortly to show you how I've lined those up on the grate, and we'll get going. Well, as you can see, I have gone ahead and lined these up on the grates, and I have re-seasoned the top of those, and they look absolutely amazing. Temperature of 250 Fahrenheit in the smoker, and we are going to let these smoke off now for 3 hours, and I will show you the finished smoking product in about 3 hours when we smoke them up. See you soon. Wow, these pork belly burnt-ins have turned out amazing. Look at the end result of these. I'm getting ready to pull these off the smoker, and we're going to sauce them up and get them back in the smoker. But these look absolutely amazing. Welcome back, and as you can see, these turned out amazing. I will put them up to the secondary camera so you can see those unbelievable results on these tonight. I cannot believe how good these turned out. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and sauce these up. So very, very simple to do. I'm going to go ahead and take these off the board. Go ahead and move the board back here. And we're going to go ahead and sauce these up. I just put them in a nice big aluminum pan. We're just going to take your favorite sauce. We're just going to start dumping it on there. Now, I will mix these in by hand here in just a second. They are pretty hot. That's why I'm using gloves, just not to get messy. But typically, I can go through the whole bottle here in just a second. But we'll go from there, and we'll just mix them around. Make sure all of them get some nice sauce on those. And we might want to add just a little bit more sauce on those. And like I said, I'm going to put these back in the smoker. I'm going to bump up the temperature to about 300 so the sauce caramelizes a little bit. And I'm going to tell you what, you won't want anything else after this. This is truly meat candy. And so we're going to go ahead and get these nicely mixed together. And I think that's about it. I'll hold this up to the camera here in just a second. I'm going to put them all kind of together. That way they just caramelize up together, and it will be amazing. So you can kind of see the finished product here. I'm going to tell you, this is going to be so good. So I can't wait to show you the final results. I'm going to put them in there for about another hour, and then it'll be time to eat. I can't wait to do that. Welcome back, and I've taken the pork belly burnt-ins off the smoker, and they have turned out fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and put a couple up to the secondary camera, at least one right here. We'll pull another one off and do that. Look at these. These are amazing, and these turned out perfect. This was, in fact, a perfect smoke. The sauce is caramelized well on these, and there's not much more to say about it. I am so ready to dig into these tonight. I know you're jealous out there watching it, but don't be jealous because you can make these just as easy as I have. And if you haven't made them, I would love for you to attempt to make those. I'd love to see your pictures, and I'd love to see how they turned out. I will be putting the full directions down below, and you'll be able to follow along just like with this video. So anyway, now is the moment of truth. I'm going to pull one off. It looks so good. Oh my. I don't say that about much, but that is an oh my taste. The adjectives I would use for this is succulent, decadent. It's a taste like no other. This is meat candy. Guys, I hope you've learned something here today, and I hope this has made you as hungry as it's made me. Please, once again, remember to subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell so you don't miss any of the videos that I'm putting out. I'll be coming out with the next one probably in the next few days. I'm doing a New Year's Day pork loin for the family, and looking forward to showing you how to make that also on the Pitballs Pro Series 1600. But until then, thank you for tuning in. And this is DADITUDE saying Happy New Year, and let's welcome 2025 in style. Bye for now.
DADITUDE barbecue. He's the grilling dude. DADITUDE barbecue. You know how we do. Let it burn, smoking meats on that smoker grill. Clouds in the sky, you can smell the flavor in the air. DADITUDE.